Pretty Little Liars, or Wikipedia, is lying. The artificial intelligence hate is annoying me. We'll get to our teen of the week. It had me in shock and awe. Lexi versus Lexi. Also, we got to talk about Lexi from Adventures in Odyssey. Is Jules's fake, and we're going to also talk about computers of the 1980s. But first, let's get into our headlines from the Tech Board, because this is still technically a tech podcast. Let's go over to TheTechBoy.org so we can get into our tech headlines, our 3 tech headlines. We'll get into the AI headline last because I have an entire spiel for this. I mean, the AI hate is getting out of control, and quite frankly, I am tired of it. I'm tired of these people. I'm tired and fed up of listening to you. But we have done a review of Encarta versus Worldbook versus Britannica. So, multimedia software has unfortunately died. I used the most up-to-date, the latest version of these softwares that I could find, 2009, 2013, and 2015. So the most recent version is basically from 2014 because, it's an encyclopedia, so all the information has to be put in there and then released out in 2015. So it's over 10 years old, over a decade old, and it still holds up pretty well to this day. Other than of course, the information still in it. I mean, in 2009, from Encarta, George Bush was still president, and in the most up-to-date one, Barack Obama is president in his first and second terms, respectively. But we have Encarta versus Worldbook versus Britannica, and I believe that the death of multimedia software has been the worst thing to happen to computing. Okay, you have all these super powerful tablets and all these computers that are coming in, and they don't really do anything. They just use as clients for the web. I have tried to find so many alternatives to this, and I have not been able to find any. Yeah, sure, we have Keywix, but that's it. That is it. And it's not as intuitive, it's not as user-friendly, because Wikipedia was made for the web first, and that's how everything has been trending. Web first, design second. And it doesn't really make sense. I mean, why does everything have to be so web-based? Why does everything have to be so web-centric? Because the truth of the matter is that they have these animations in games and things that you just don't really get on the internet today. Why? But anyway, let's get into this. Encarta versus Worldbook versus Britannica. So I compared 2 things. Articles on the United States and technology history. I compared them on accuracy and how in-depth they are. Now, I didn't read all of them. I just went through, made sure that, they're true a little bit, just tried to see how long they were. And then I reviewed each adult version. So I reviewed adult Encarta, and adult Worldbook, and adult Britannica. When you look at these pictures here, you can see that Britannica kind of gives me a 2011 vibe. Encarta is the most simple, most basic layout that you can see on the screen, but it kind of works here. But even if the software isn't the best, even if it isn't the best UI, I do like that it works offline. They all have their own distinct sort of a look. I mean, let's look at Worldbook here. It looks very high tech. It looks very distinguished, right? It looks like something that you'd want to use. Like, it looks like, hey guys, we're going to do this, and we're going to have this nice presentation. It looks like something that you could update. It has some sort of aura about it that, it has some sort of prosperity, growth. You can't wait until the 2014 version, right? When you're looking at phones, right? If you're not really super into phones, you don't really know the difference between the OnePlus 13 and the OnePlus 15, the Samsung Galaxy S24 and S25. Right? You don't really get that vibe of growth, prosperity, an aura around it that you just really want to use it. No, this software can suck you in. You can sit for hours, as I said in the last video, and use it. And this software here, Britannica, it just has this like knowledge about it. I mean, look at this. It kind of looks kind of old, kind of gives me Windows Vista-esque, Windows 7-esque design software. But the one thing I did like about this is that it had tabs on it. Tabs. Such sweet, beautiful tabs. So you could do research. Someone just said, despite my ignorance, he likes my interviews. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, that's so funny. Yes, me ignorant. Anyway, these tabs just spread. It's just so very cool. You have history in alphabetical order. You can read about the United States Civil War. You have videos that are embedded inside of Encarta. Anyway, when you get into the articles, you get into the book and web recommendations. Worldbook opens up into full screen, despite being 4 years older. You cannot split screen on the home screen like Encarta does. And look at these games that you have here. as well. I mean, this is a really in-depth article. In the end, Britannica does come out with the victory, which I am shocked because it had great multimedia performance. It had great information available. Of course, it was the most up-to-date. I didn't really count that into effect because, Encarta came out in 2009. Encarta does have these cool features. It had the best multimedia, in my opinion. It has the best map, the best atlas. The atlases of Worldbook and the other ones just sucked. Britannica sucked. I mean, look at this map. Kind of. Oh no, that's Google Earth. But here are the atlases. Right, sucky, sucky. No, sorry, sucky, good, sucky. I mean, this is hard. Look at this. 30% of map and 70% screen. I mean, come on, man. And this Britannica is slightly a little bit better, but it's still super small. Encarta obviously taking home the win here. So for this is just criminal here as well. Also, speaking of criminal, Worldbook only had the national anthem in there as like a few seconds. I mean, that is criminal right here. Worldbook should be respecting our great nation. Britannica had the full national anthem in there. It was good. Encarta's is great. Encarta's national anthem is great. And look at Britannica, high-tech software kind of scheme here. Kind of gives you like a Disney Channel feel. I mean, let's look at this. Look at this. Now, doesn't this look so high-tech? So cool. How it's just scrolling around, moving kind of very fluently on this timeline. Doesn't this look so high-tech? I mean, look how fast it scrolls too, as well, when you got that scrolling motion going. I mean, this just looks so cool. And if it was optimized for a touch interface, if we could get this over onto our tablets, if we could get this over onto all of our systems, I mean, it would be amazing. We could make we could bring back multimedia software. I don't understand why multimedia software cannot come to our devices right now. But I mean, at least I was able to get these downloads, or able to get these ISOs, over the internet. So much better than having to use Wikipedia or KeyWix or anything like that. Speaking of mobile devices, if you want to sit here for hours and you want to scroll, Samsung needs to get better with the battery. Samsung, come on, man. 30-hour battery is what I expect. I got this S24 Ultra to be an improvement over the disastrous S22 Plus battery life because, it had a horrible chip in there, a small battery. It wasn't as big as the A71 5G I had previously. It wasn't as big as, of course, the Ultra series. Maybe it'll last me 3 or 4 hours. This phone lasts me about 5 hours, about half a day. But I mean, I'm expecting a lot more, especially when we see what OnePlus is doing with their silicon batteries. People are getting 2.5 days worth of battery life of this OnePlus phone. This OnePlus phone, which is not even thicker because it has this new battery technology. And I'm saying, look, Samsung, I don't care. I don't really care how thick my phone is. Like, hey, this is thin enough for me, right? I mean, I've gone hands-on with the Edge. It really is cool, but I don't really care that much. I mean, this is what I use on a daily basis. I pack this around, a 10,000 milliamp hour New Dairy battery pack. They gave this to me for free, by the way. And it's great. It's lasted me for 1.5 years, still going strong, still going tough. And this has saved me multiple times because when I have to navigate Houston's incompetent metro system and, they're so slow to have all these delays, this battery pack is what keeps my phone from dying. And then I'm, stranded in the middle of Houston. Halfway news, well, you might get shot, but I mean, at least, halfway news, But anyway, wait. Yeah. Anyway, this phone only lasts about 5 hours. Come on, Samsung. We want better. All I'm saying is, hey, look, you got this camera bump. Just extrude the battery a little bit. Come on, make a 6,000, 7,000 milliamp hour battery, please. That's all I'm begging you. Like, come on, man. Come on. I mean, it is honestly ridiculous. And now they have this new technology. I know Samsung's kind of bullish on this. I know they're kind of scared because, they don't want the Note 7 to happen all over again. I'm not asking you to experiment with new battery technology. I'm just saying, please, for the love of all that's good, for the love of Samsung, make your batteries better. Outcompete OnePlus. You are better than OnePlus. Your software is better than OnePlus. Your camera is better than OnePlus. Your software support is better than OnePlus. You got the secure folder. You got Dex. You got Bixby. And I know you guys hate it, but Bixby is amazing. Yeah, you got all that. You have the chip for Galaxy. It's just a little bit faster. You got the stylus. You have all these features, which is why we love Samsung. Just outcompete OnePlus. It's kind of like having all the intelligence and technological ability and trying to outcompete the Instagram kiddos, which is why we're going to turn over to our artificial intelligence rant. Look, I quite frankly, I don't care. I am fed up with you people there's been this trend on the internet to hate artificial intelligence. And most of the time, more often than not, now there is some small contingent of people who don't fit this description, but more often than not, the people who are these annoying watermelon flag in their name, quote unquote artists who are mad that their job of drawing stick figures on divine art is dead. That is what is happening. They are so mad about this. These people are mad because they are becoming replaceable. They are seen as useless, and the people are just using them for their stick figures and not their personality, which makes sense because no one likes the X artist. No one likes the Defiant artist. They only like you for your art. So sit there and draw, and if people are going to be able to get the photos for free using an artificial intelligence chatbot, that's fine. And in this clip, Matt Walsh actually goes over something like this. Let's share this on the screen. He's not talking about the divine art artists. He's not talking about artificial intelligence art in this clip, who Matt Walsh is a famous hater of. He's a hater of everything good. Well, not everything good. He loves lots of good things, but he just hates. He hates fun. He hates life. JK. But anyway, he's talking about men being lonely, but he hits this point on about the divine art artists right here.
Single men, in particular, walk through a world where they are not really noticed or valued unless they can do or provide something. And then their value only goes as far as the thing they're doing or providing. Now, for a
boom. That's right. That's what's happening to the artificial intelligence artists. The value has only gone as far. The divine artists. The value only goes as far as what they have given and what they have provided. And he goes on in this clip to say that young women are actually seen as, if they go into a room, their value is themselves.
Young woman, especially if she's modestly attractive, which...
Well, anyway, he just goes on to say that, young women, if they're modestly attractive, which according to him means non-overweight, we're not going to get into that, but if they're modestly attractive, then that means that, their value is themselves in and of themselves. And you might expect me to sit here and moralize. You might expect me to sit here and be like, hey, guys, it's what's on the inside that counts. No, look. Hot take here, but I am fine with this. I'm entirely right about this. He's right. Men are seen on a what can you do for me basis. And hot take, that is fine. I was useful in high school for GNN. I was useful in high school for Secretary of State. And now my usefulness has expired. Compete, I live to win. In our new era, our new frontier of artificial intelligence is here. That is why, as of right now, as I am speaking to you, right, there is no one watching this stream. I am completely, utterly, and totally useless. But with talent and at a goal, with technological abilities, with artificial intelligence at my side, I can defeat them and team up with the Instagram girls. Like Matt said, girls have more friends just by existing, and I have to compete against that. And in order to collab in real life, I need to bring a benefit to them now. Quite frankly, there's no reason for some kid who can sit on a Jeep with 6,000 followers to come onto this show with no one existing. But with artificial intelligence, we can out-compete them. And my benefit, my only chance, my only friend, my only hope is artificial intelligence. And Matt and others may say, stop being depressed. Go outside and touch grass. And he'd lobby down for top-down interference in my life or some sort of parental control app. Or he'd say, hey, get the phone taken away. And what I say is no, never going to happen. Top-down control doesn't happen. The rules and pragmatism from the 80s and the 90s no longer work. A new world is here. A new world is nigh. Okay, a new day has dawned. Last week, the Reddit was freaked out that their son was popular and on the ground, quick decisions are needed. We need to be agile like the United States military and not top down like Russia. Speaking of the Cold War with Nika shows this situation beautifully. Don't clip and edit that, guys. We're not going to run back 8th grade. So you like the post by Nick Fuentes, and my goodness, we're so cooked. By the way, oh my gosh. Imagine if this war happened today. It would be the combination of 2022 and 2019 all in one. And thank goodness SSA was coded to just oppose everything that was popular back in 2014 because hating girls back then was popular, cooties and whatever. So we started to ally with girls, which is good because every single major conflict, every major war has been with the girl. I mean, let's look at this. We have the Nika war, that's about a year. The Damien war, that's about 2 days. Okay, that is how so much faster it's gone before. I mean, we've gone over this war before, but one major aspect of this, to get back to being on the ground, being agile, like the U.S. military versus Russia, we've gone over this war before, but a major aspect of this war was if cheerleading was a sport. Now, I did post that if cheerleading was a sport, then there would be a video game for it, but that's me now existing in the confines where Nicola doctrine doesn't really matter, okay, other than the Antichrist doctrine. But, Nikki as head cheerleader, well, we would have had the cheerleaders would have had their support, right? So my decision to claim that cheerleading was a sport was to garner the backing of the cheerleaders, right? In this ally-less, hapless war, not between boys and girls or GCAM or JVN, but between me and her, truth versus lies, good versus quote-unquote evil, all rockets versus hers, and I made the underground decision to support cheerleading as a sport, to garner support from the other cheerleaders, because as Liz knew, you don't want to be chased by the cheerleaders, even if, as Spike so famously said to Cindy, wannabe President Crawford, intelligence about Cindy wannabe Crawford's intelligence, there's nothing to insult. This kind of on-the-ground shifting and changing without pre-approvals, without asking right and wrong, without resting for a top-down assistance is what made SSA agile and great, and able to eke out a stalemate in the war between SSA and Nicola, from penetrating too deep into 5th grade, from having half the cheerleader support in our war against Nikki. In 2022, I longed for a program that could clone people so I could see the responses in real time, because in my brain, in realistic person emulation mode, was like hearing 105.7 on 105.9, as if the Iron Dome and Reagan Star Wars was just 6 or 7 degrees off of target. We couldn't do everything. We couldn't intercept all the targets that they're having. And even though playing innocent, and even though worked about 85% of the time, some of the rhetorical missiles got through my brain, because like an LLM, my brain was tuned on how the kids acted in Adventures in Odyssey and Down Gideon Lane. I have more nods of kids' lizards antics than the average 10th and 11th grader. And these programs can help tune my brain in time to help ward off the attacks. And now artificial intelligence, this program can help me team up and outcompete with the Instagram girls. And with artificial intelligence, we will make this company great. And I refuse to make someone take my one joy, my one friend away in life. And I can already see the comments to all the none of the people who are talking here. Yes, oh well, Jesus is your best friend. Yes, Hillsong, you noted here. You know full well what I mean here. So no to the AI haters, no to the anti-progress people, no to people who want to see my demise. No, just no. Look, the truth of the matter is that in order to be agile, in order to be great, that in order to compete with this new given threat that is within this, with these other kids that can sit around and get thousand followers by sitting on top of a car, or to all these other kids who have predisposed advantages that are within them, we must have artificial intelligence to keep generating new material for us. And I am quite frankly fed up with these people who are saying no. Look, you're wrong. All your policies have been wrong before. They're wrong again. And, to the people who are talking about, moralizing, whatever. I mean, I am quite frankly tired of this. The moralization is getting out of hand. The moralization, quite frankly, if you look at it from a strategic moralization level, SSA had full right to team up with GCAM, full right to team up with JVN. We could have come up, if we wanted to team up with JVN, with 1,000 reasons, 1,000 moral, biblical reasons. We could have stood on the Bible and said, hey, this is why we're going to disavow from GCAM. We would have had a whole bunch of moral reasons to do that, but we didn't do that, right? Now, when we look at what Molly did, throwing hydro flasks at people's head. When we look at what Molly did, slapping people's faces into slapping people's faces with shoes, throwing shoes at her head and admitting to that on tape. Now, of course, we condemn that because we want to exist as the moral defenders of the land. But I mean, do I actually care if someone gets a hydro flask thrown at them? No, not really. But we have to actually look at this politically and pragmatically speaking. If I had known this before the election, oh yeah, that would have been a talking point. Hey, guys, do you want to vote for someone who's going to be throwing water bottles at your heads? Pragmatically, it is not a good decision to throw water bottles at a 9th grader's head. Pragmatically, it is not a good decision to smack people in the face with a shoe. If you're running for president or vice president, politically speaking, it is not a good idea to throw hydro flasks at people. And if, one of my allies had done it, unless they're a super duper close ally, or they had to do it on me. If they're a super duper close ally, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, well, gotta think about this, gotta really get into the. No, I'm just gonna be like, no, I flat out disavow that. I flat out disavow that, and what wrong is wrong. But do I care? No, heck no. Oh, you got a concussion. Oh, sucks to suck. Okay, people like die every day. But my point is that I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you moralizers whine about artificial intelligence. You people talk about, it's theft. No, artificial intelligence has made me more productive. And, Matt Walsh and all these people will be like, there's no heart, there's no emotion behind it. I don't give a crap. I don't care. I don't care about the message behind a book or television show. When we're talking about Don't Look Up, these people, there's no media, what do they call it? Media literacy is dead in America. Media literacy. And there's always people who care about media literacy that have the most crazy, insane ideas that are sitting around Reddit and crying and whining like a little baby. Okay, they're probably top 1% commenter on our picks. Our picks, which is a stupid subreddit, which I baited so easily. Anyway, these people, I don't care about the message. I don't care about media literacy. What I care is if it's good, if it's fun to look at, or the line's good. That's why I support and like Zoe 101, even though they had some CGI in it. And that's why I don't like Saturdays. Not because I'm a racist, it's because the show sucks. The reason why no one likes Saturdays is because it's a show that only takes place on Saturday. 6 out of 7 of the days are not represented. Okay, to all you people that say, representation matters. Yeah, representation matters in the sense that I need to be able to see myself in that show. And I can see some aspects of myself in Zoe and in Quinn. It doesn't matter that they were a girl. It doesn't matter that they were a different race than me. It just matters I can see some aspects of myself in the show. I saw no aspects of myself in Saturdays, probably because you only had one day out of the week to do stuff, and it was very boring, not interesting. So representation doesn't matter, or the color or gender of the person, which there's only 2. It only matters if it has the same values as the person. And I align more with the values of Zoe 101 and Adventures in the Odyssey and Ant Farm and Good Luck Charlie, except for that one episode. I align more with those values than I do with whatever the heck Saturday's values or lack thereof was. It's not saying it's a degenerate show. I mean, degenerate would be a step above. And, if that show was generated with artificial intelligence, then, it's a terrible show. I'm just going to judge the show based on the content of its character and not what was made to create the show. Because the show is boring as heck. I care about the quality of a show and the book. I don't care what was used to make it. I don't care how it was made. I don't care if it was totally green. I don't care if they use renewable energy. I don't care if they use solar-powered cameras or recycled plastic. I have always felt this way. I care about the product. Is it good or bad? I don't care if you have carbon credits. I criticize Samsung for these eco-friendly, overpriced cases because what I care is the profit margin. What I care is it cheap? Is it good? I don't care how it was made. That's my outlook in life. Is the content good or bad? Is the tech good or bad? Does it work? Not what message does it spread? Not is it real? Not does it have emotion? Not does it have heart? There's a lot of heart and emotion behind trash projects. There's been a lot of heart and emotion behind horror documentaries. Quite frankly, we need a lot more heartless, emotionless people to just get out there and do their dang jobs. Write the book. And, to the people, of course, are saying it's theft. How? How is it theft? Literally how? Every book, every story, every song is derivative of another song. No one has ever had an original idea in their life. Are you going to claim that Ford ripped off Mercedes because they thought, hey, guys, I want something on 4 wheels that can roll. Okay, how are you going to patent that? Our own national anthem, our great national anthem, which Encarta and Britannica, thank you, put in the World Book looking at you. Come on, fix that. It's based on an old tune that sounded horrible back then. I mean, it sounded trash. And now it is one of the greatest, most beautiful songs ever made. Adventure in the Odyssey used a plot point from Kids Corner before. TV shows use tropes all the time. Heck, there's a website called TV Tropes. Is this supposed to be criminal now? Is it supposed to be criminal? The only thing I dislike about artificial intelligence content, other than when people are using it for illegal means, is when it is bad. On if you can tell it's been artificially intelligence generated, and if it's surface level and boring, if the facts are wrong. If I can read an article and tell it's been generated by artificial intelligence and the facts is wrong, that's annoying to me. If the CGI is so blatantly off that I can even sell on a small picture-in-picture screen, because let me tell you, I'll be watching movies from Tubi in like a small little box of a screen. So as long as it can pass that, I'm fine with that. But quite frankly, content creation, I'm not seeing so much content anymore, and I want to be able to get into this game. I want to be able to get into this game. I'm driven by competition. I want to become great. And hey, look, if Matt Walsh can hire me, an entire team, an entire studio, get all these people coming into Teen of the Week, if he can do that for me, then hey, I won't use artificial intelligence. But he's not gonna. He's not gonna be able to find these people. My friends are not gonna spawn out of thin air. And in order to grow this company, in order to become great, we must become agile, like I said in that example I said. I didn't sit there and think about the moral reasons. Well, maybe I did back in 8th grade, right? But it's strategic. I didn't sit there and think, hey guys, should I support the cheerleaders as a sport or should I not? No, I sat there and like, hey guys, we are at war. We are at war right now, right? And I cannot afford to alienate half the school. I cannot afford to alienate all these people and have them go to a side. I cannot afford to alienate the cheerleaders while the head cheerleader is against me. So I decided to support it as a sport against the other people. So then of course, you can kind of spin it around and moralize it yourself. Well, right now, we were at quote-unquote war, right? And thank goodness this isn't in 2022 because I'd be, basically saying, hey, guys, screw you. No, we were at quote-unquote war with the other kids. We were at quote-unquote war with the other teens. Of course, we want to collab with them, but I don't want to destroy them. We can all become great together. But these kids have such a head start, either from what Matt Walsh says is that, girls just have the innate advantage that's within them just from being a girl, or they have more followers or something like that. And we're at war right now. And I was about the time sit around pragmatically, sit around and cry that someone's content was quote-unquote stolen. Now it's not the time to sit around pragmatically care about the emotion behind someone's content. No, now it's the time to sit here and strategically think. Back like I did in 8th grade, like I always do now. And like I did in 2023. What is the best move? What is the best option for this country? What is the best option for this company? And that best option, that best move is artificial intelligence. That is the answer. The only answer to our problems. Other than a whole bunch of people spawning in here like it's Roblox. Okay? And I will not stand for people who sit here and moralize, who don't really have any sort of goal. They don't really have any sort of exit plan. They don't really have any sort of path. And I know maybe they're not doing this to spite me, but if they were to get what they want, if they were to stand in the way of progress of artificial intelligence, it would take my last chance away. Operation Last Chance, which was the hypothetical plan to sacrifice up Denver to Damien so we could get him kicked out the school. Obviously, that didn't happen. We got chased behind the woods, etc. I mean, the artificial intelligence is Operation Last Chance for the TechBoy media. It's our last chance to compete with these kids. It's our last chance to become relevant. It's our last chance to become great. And I, more than anything, love winning. And I will not let anything or anybody or any sort of movement stand in my way to become great. Now, let's get into our Adventures in Odyssey segment. Adventures in Odyssey, I heard the episode that they aired on Thursday, today. I'm a heathen. And Lexi, let's go. Kaluna, don't clip this. Anyway, Lexi, so I was wondering if Lexi happened before or after Jules became Kristen. Sounds like it came around the same time. And, they say that Buck was turning Lexi pink. And it sounds like Lexi, the head preppy cheerleader girl who's hyper Christian, is weaponizing Liz on Buck. Maybe she's gonna, what do they call it? Missionary dating or something like that. Want to see where Adventure in Odyssey goes on that. But yeah, Buck might have a crush on Lexi. Now I know what this sounds like. Oh, this sounds like the MI6 era policy. Oh, you sound like Christy Lamond. You sound like Christy Lamond with the TechBoy Media MI6. Shut up, Paisley. Shut up. First of all, I took multiple tests that proved that there was no crush. Second of all, in the MI6 era, this website got 50 clicks a day. In the post MI6 era, we get 30. So, hey guys, once again, SSA was proven right again. What? That's a callback to that episode. What controversy drives clicks? Yeah, in the MI6 era, when we were talking about MI6, obviously we had the best episodes. But we also had a lot more clicks. So, maybe we should start mentioning, every time that we mention this, we get 1 click. So if we get 20 clicks, we'll just notice this until our statistics go a little bit higher here, and our statistics won't go a bit higher with a little bit more. But anyway, Lexi's being mentioned, which I like that. I like the character of Lexi. Don't clip that. But oh wow, finally one person is watching this. Well, I thought to compare her against Lexi Reed versus Lexi Winters. Lexi Winters from Adventures in Odyssey. I mean, she's a great character, and as a person, okay, this isn't any sort of romantic involvement here. Don't go reading into this. But, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am such a fan of Preppy, like in the books, and the aesthetic. It has this kind of this power about it. They sit on the pink Jeep. I mean, it's amazing. Preppy is so cool. But, they got, the Stanley Cup or whatever. Of course, the leggings, Del Partridge over there, like, having a conniption. Okay, Del Partridge is on. No, not leggings. Cry me a freaking river. Preppy is so cool. And if you think about it, we got artificial intelligence over here, and we got Preppy over there, and that's what's going to compete. I mean, that's basically what our competition is. And, my knowledge of this is based upon books. And like I said, my brain is coded on Adventures in Odyssey, Downgraded Lane, and Kids Corner. So my knowledge of Preppy, they might not be like Preppy from like what, New Jersey or the Woodlands, which I'm going to do a video about this, reading the Woodlands subreddit. The people in the Woodlands subreddit hate the Woodlands. They think, apparently the people in the Woodlands subreddit think that there's like some sort of clan rally going on in the Woodlands. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, they must think that like Instagram comment section is the Woodlands. It's not. Okay, guys, the Woodlands isn't racist. In the MI6 era, when we were in the Woodlands, we had higher viewership, which, I mean, see, this proves that the Woodlands is anti-racist. See, guys? Anyway, Preppy is so cool, and of course that is our competition, and with artificial intelligence we will compete, we will win, and we will make the site great again. Anyway, Lexi Reed versus Lexi Winters. Here we go. Let's go, guys. So Lexi Reed, here we have a picture of her. We don't have a picture of Lexi Winters, but just imagine Lexi Reed, but like in a cheerleader outfit on the sidelines. And, for the sake of this argument, we're going to say that it's a sport. Anyway, good Christian kiddo Lexi Winters. No, so Lexi Reed, rated #1 ant form character, has a lot of positive talents, despite her being a bully and an egomaniac. However, another Lexi Winters, had answered the chat, the girl from Adventures in Odyssey, who would win the battle of the Lexis. Lexi Winters is a Christian girl from Baltimore and the daughter of a pastor. She goes to Friends, which is kind of like, what do they call it? Friendship, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, basically the Adventures in Odyssey equivalent of that. Buck says he'll stay for the football game. He crushes 35-0. After some prodding, Lexi convinces him to stay for the sermon afterwards. In contrast, Lexi Reed uses her powers to convince Paisley to do stuff for it and become student council president or leader of some sort in the school. Lexi Reed and Winters are both cheerleaders, but Reed is specified as the head cheerleader, and throughout the show is coded as more ambitious. Winters seems nicer, much nicer than Reed, and she has been, this is written before the episode aired, she has been weaponizing her ways to get Buck to become, a little bit more Christian here as well. And Winters is also nicer than Reed. He remains friends with Buck, dropped the fallout of his criminal past, and even posted a picture of him after the incident in a flirty manner. So I'm not sure about that. I think it's true, though, because he still mentioned it when Buck comes back to meet Jules. And Valerie read it, so maybe Valerie was lying. So Reed is more ambitious, while Winters is nicer but seems more popular. And I would appoint both of these kids to my administration. They sound like so much fun to be with. Like I was talking about, the preppy aesthetic and the high school football game and all of this stuff. It just seems like so much fun. And, I wish I could attain that. But our second best choice is to listen to Adventure Odyssey episodes and relive our experiences through them. I was just listening to Emily solve a case. I always wanted to go to someone's house and solve a case. It was so much fun. Buck, he got to work for the NSA. Buck and Emily are just living out my childhood dreams. What this agency was founded on, what this agency was founded for. And, it's kind of sad, but, these episodes are great. But anyway, I tap Reed for information on what the Mean Girls are doing while keeping sensitive information away from her. And I tap Winters as a Christian podcast host and campaign manager because, I think Lexi Winters has that aesthetic. She can do it. She can do it. She has that drive in her. She has that drive in her. She's trying to hide it, but I know she got that drive in her. Lexi Reed, she just comes out there and says, "Shut up, Paisley. Pick up my bags, Paisley. You do what I say, Paisley." And that's kind of mean. But like I said, pragmatically speaking, she won an election, so politically speaking, it's fine. Apparently, the student body loves her. The student body loves her. She had her own radio show. She had her own Good Morning Lexi show. She can do whatever. She's Teflon Reed. Nothing sticks to her. She can do whatever. And if I Teflon Tech over here, I can do whatever. Also, because no one's listening, but it's just amazing. It's great. So cool, so cool. These people, they're so freaking cool. Now let's talk about Jules' faith conversion. Jules became a Christian in Adventure Odyssey. And I'm going to preface this by saying that I want everyone who's listening to this episode podcast stream and everyone in the world to become Christian. And it would be great for everyone to become Christian, okay? So all the, one people who's listening to this, all the haters who are going to be, oh, no, shut up. Jules' character is kind of ruined as a Christian. Okay, Jules became a Christian in one episode, and now she is the Allie Beth freaking Stuckey of Adventure Odyssey. She is Connie Light. She is Connie 2.0. Okay, Jules went around, wearing quote-unquote modest outfits, whatever that means, to Adventure Odyssey. And then she comes on this show once, and, she comes on this radio show to talk to Bridget. Jules is the one in the back here. And she comes on this radio show, and she's like, so, I think we should be modest, kind of. And she's like, well, Jesus is my one true love and savior. And I just really have this great relationship with, Jules. Jules, come on now. You fall off a cliff one time and then you turn into Connie? That's unbelievable. Okay, even let's say she converted. She should still not be sitting around on kids' radio being like Allie Beth Stuckey, okay? Nah. You think Allie Beth Stuckey, when she became a Christian, just had a whole flip? Had a whole flip on her? Jules didn't even grow up in a Christian household or anything. Jules. I mean, she's kind of a boring character now. She just sounds like a Connie, but for teenagers. Wait, but look, when I was in 2016, I thought Connie was a teenager. And Connie was 28 back then. Now she's 28 and a half. Connie doesn't age. Come on, man. Bridget annoys me. She's just annoying. But, I know Adventure Odyssey can do it. Wyatt is still Wyatt, despite him becoming a Christian. Mrs. Perkins is still Mrs. Perkins. Ron Perkins is still Ron Perkins, despite them becoming Christians. They still have the same personality. It seems like Jules' personality is just Connie, but with a different accent. And, we've been doing Jules for 10, 11 years. And, she's always had this kind of, I don't really think what matters happens, etc., etc. You think that she had some sort of dramatic conversion because she heard God in the wind on the side of the road? And I don't think that's how this works. I'm not an expert. I don't think that's how this works. And, you have Christian characters like Lexi Winters, who's still an interesting character, right? You want to know them in real life, and I want to know Jules in real life too. I mean, Jules. I mean, she did go to California. She did become a pop star for 2 minutes. I knew the ending of that episode before it even came out in 2020. 2020 was peak for Adventure in Odyssey. Peak, except for the Right Elevations Part 3. Oh my gosh. Man, I tried so hard to retcon that. It was a mess. Right now, Elevations Part 1 and 2. Peak. I mean, what are they doing? But let's talk about, the post here. Now that we're in the post Nicola War era, is cheerleading a sport because there's no video game for it? We think about all these other sports. We got basketball. What do they call it? 2K. You got football. You got retro ball. You got soccer. What's it called? FIFA. You got I'm pretty sure there's a tennis video game, and if there isn't, is tennis a sport? I mean, you got hockey video games. I mean, honestly, if no one wants to make a video game for it, is it actually a sport? These video games allow people who are unskilled at playing the game in real life to play out the game on their screen. And that's me. I can't drive in real life well, and I can't drive in BeamMG to save my life. The only sport I'm good at in video game that I'm better at worse at in real life is Wii bowling. Okay, I can score like 160 points in Wii bowling, maybe. Maybe Wii baseball, but baseball's it's a horrible sport. Sorry, come at me. Unless it's playoff baseball. I'm an okay bowler. Maybe I can bowl up to like 75, 80 in real life. I can bowl up to like 140 on Wii, 160 on a good day. But I'm a better football player than I am a Madden player. I'm a better soccer player than I am a FIFA player. I'm a better driver than I am a BeamMG driver, though. Technically, that's only true because I've never crashed a car in real life. I've only crashed a car 20 times in BeamMG. So, my life is at stake. And I'm actually pretty decent at soccer. I was down in 26-degree weather in the snow, down 2-0, and I snapped back and won 5-2. I also won 5-4 playing 1-on-2 soccer once, maybe once or twice. Okay, I'm decent at football too. Great wide receiver. Greatest of all time. People are saying. Once. Someone said that before. Maybe. But, Madden, I'll get crushed in that. Retro Bowl? I'm not that good. I'm okay, I guess. I tried Extreme. I do like 9 pick sixes. Not 9 pick sixes, but 9 picks. Maybe like 3 pick sixes. And then I just started a challenge to see how many picks I could throw in a game. I let someone win 98-0. That was fun. I was trying to get to 100. It's actually harder to have the other team score 100 points because you got to have these people throwing all the time, and they have to score pick sixes all the time. So it's actually harder than you think. I'm putting out this challenge. Go play on extreme mode, and at the 1 minute quarters, and let the other team score 100 points. That's my challenge to you people. Get to work. Now let's get to our teen of the week, and what you're about to see is it's I was in shock, I was in awe, and I think you guys about to let's cut to the teen of the week here. So all right, let's go over here, guys. Oh no, we got.
I left my home. I was home when you left. You're right. Your daddy, your mama, your brother, your sister, the dog, the cat, the fish was home when you left. You're right. And that's the reason you left. You're right. I left my home. I was home when you left. You're right. Your daddy, your mama, your brother.
It is. I mean, we gotta go full screen on this, guys. I'm sorry. I have no words for. I'm not attacking this person. I'm not attacking this. I mean, this is impressive. If you can get online and do, whatever that was, Congratulations. I mean, that was. I have never seen. We have to go with. Let's look at this in slow motion, guys. Can you? Yes, good. We can play and pause at the same time, so we can freeze frame these at the exact. I mean, let's go in. Yeah, let's zoom in. Cut out the comments. Cut out everything. This is important. This is important, guys. Okay. What? She's doing like 6 or 7 different in one. Okay. So that's one. How can you swing your neck like that? Okay. What are they called? What is that? What do they call it? Oh, okay. What is that? I just okay. What are these? What, bro? What? You know, this is why we need artificial intelligence. Because I mean, how are we supposed to compete with that? Like, wait, bro, what? Crazy. All right, let's talk about Pretty Little Liars, the book Wikipedia page. Like I said, preppy. So maybe I'll read the book. All right, let's go. Let's look at this. The Pretty Little Liars book Wikipedia page, and this is why we're looking at this. Okay, guys. All right, now let's read this. This is very important. This is key. Okay, so I hope you guys can see this on the screen. Spencer Hastings. Spencer's a headstrong, intelligent, overachieving girl who comes from a wealthy Hastings. Blah blah blah. Right. She has wavy blonde hair and wears preppy outfits when not in the sports clothes. Now let's cut over onto Spencer Hastings link here. Guys, it's Wikipedia blind, cause I'm not a blonde spot, but guys, this isn't no. That's not how this works. Now let's go back and let's read about Hannah Marin, who clearly has long dark brown hair, and as you saw. No, the heck she doesn't. Again, I'm not an expert, but my eyes work, and that's not brown hair, people. Like, is Wikipedia just wrong? Let's keep reading this. I didn't check the other two. This person says he has dark black hair. Let's check in. I'll let that pass. Looks kind of brown to me, but I mean that's as close as we're gonna get. Emma, she has red hair according to them. Oh, let's open this up. If this is red hair, like what? Are the Wikipedia writers blind? Are the people who wrote Pretty Little Liars blind? Like the book canonically says she has dark brown hair and she's blonde. Oh, okay, bro. Like, and the sad part is, you could have switched Spencer with Hannah. Now it says he has wavy, dark brown hair here, Hannah, and Spencer. I mean, that's closer to dark brown than whatever the heck this is. Okay, bro. Unless my eyes do my eyes deceive me, cause Wikipedia, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, let's talk about computers of the 80s. You know, I put out this Reddit post about the computers of the 80s, and I wanted to read what they were doing. What was computing like in the 80s? The guy actually is pretty popular. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen. And you know, it's kind of sad because these people are talking about BBSs and their own custom networks that they had. All of this stuff that worked, of course, completely offline. Now, some many people couldn't even tell me what programs that they were using, which is mostly games, which kind of makes me feel better because that means gaming has always been at the forefront of computing. But they're saying that they're used to print banners. Print shops still exist. Oh, that's cool. Let's see if it hopefully it's not a web-based service. All right, we'll open that up later. They played some games like Wolfenstein. They had no hard drive, no internet, audio cassette player. And I asked them what kind of programs they ran. And they said most were just games. Programming in BASIC, which is cool. They had a dial-up BBS. And let's read this. They can launch nuclear weapons and land a man on the moon. Why can't we do that today? Well, I mean, I'm not saying I want to launch nuclear weapons from my own bedroom, but I'm just saying, like what was the tech? What was the code behind it? Oh, I need to look into the show. They're saying it was slow and tedious. I mean, I suggest that you guys go in and read this thread because it's very interesting. Because it seems like it's more stuff that we did today. But what I'm really interested in is that all the networks that they had back then. We should be able to build our own networks today. I mean, it's really sad. Almost as sad as World Book not having the full United States national anthem. Criminal behavior. Criminal. God bless. Tech talk to you later. And let's always remember that we will not be outcompeted by these kids, and we're not going to lose. And to the AI haters, I don't care. All right, now I just have to count to like 30 because it's going to cut off that last part. It was very, very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. God bless.